Today's video, we're going to talk about tax debt and tax settlement leads. People that have not paid the IRS and owe the IRS, they've gotten their wages garnished or something else bad like that happen, and the businesses that serve them that need leads. That's specifically, I wanted to clarify right up front what this video is about. And this is how to generate a metric ton of leads at about $75 a lead, which is a very profitable, doable lead cost given the acceptable closing rates we're getting along with them that I'm going to talk about in today's video and that work for most tax settlement businesses. So if you're in a business who does this, or if you're just a regular accountant who wants to make more money in their accountancy, this is a great way to do it because the revenue per job is in the thousands versus the hundreds. It's just a great way to scale your business ultimately. I'm going to tell you about the experience that we had working in the tax settlement space and what lead costs we got from Google, Bing ads, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, so you can understand how profitable this is once you set it up right, as well as how we had to set up the ads specifically in order to get to these numbers that I'm talking about here in today's video and going to reveal to you here. I will go into all the details on that so you have everything you wanted to do to be able to generate these leads and at this cost for yourself. And just as a side, if you're looking to get into it, if you're one of my regular subscribers, you're going to learn a lot about how to run ads on this video, but even if you're not a tax settlement business and you wanted to get into lead selling, generate these leads, sell them to a tax settlement business, you could do that very easily with this information I'm giving you here. I run a PPC agency and don't necessarily sell leads, mainly because it's a little bit more challenging than what it seems like at surface level. Namely, people like to bitch and complain about lead quality because they don't have a good sales process. And then what you got to do is typically have a call center where you take the leads, warm them up, then hot transfer them onto the company who's buying the lead, mark it up 5-10x for that service, and sell basically close jobs to them because people have shitty sales processes. But anyway, if you wanted to do that, you could do it. But before I go into all the content on how to do this, if you don't know who I am specifically yet and you haven't seen my other videos and are not a subscriber, I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients before charging management fees. The idea being that our management fees offset by the increase in profitability that the ad campaign has generated already before the fee is due. We are the only agency on the planet who offers any kind of contingency service like I just mentioned, which should tell you something about the quality of the information you're about to receive on this video, of which we're able to do a guaranteed service because I'm the key strategist at the firm and have 20 years of experience running Google ads, Facebook ads, and the like. Even though Facebook's not been out 20 years, Google ads certainly has. That's why, and what you are getting, I should say, with the information you're going to receive on this channel and on this video in specific. With that said, okay, I've actually broken this out by traffic source: Google, Bing, YouTube, Facebook, in terms of the lead costs that we're generating leads at per lead, the closing rate, the cost per sale along with it. So what else could you ask for? And then also, I'll give you a bit of information on how you set up your ads in each one of these platforms so that you can actually replicate this kind of results for yourself, this lead cost, this job cost, or contract signing cost, and so forth for yourself. I also have Google Display talked about here, which very few people can get that to work, but I promise you can work if you just know how to set up your ads right, which has to do with having your ads show up on web pages that are about settling your tax debt and not pages that are not about that. Practically speaking, that's it, or remarketing, if you want to actually be technical about it. That said, I'll talk about that as well. The first thing to mention right up the top here is Google search ads. Now, Google will let you advertise for tax settlement. It's not like it used to be back in the day, but you could target people who are looking for tax settlement services. You can't target people that are looking for like IRS tax office and some of the other stuff like that. Now, cost per lead there, if you set up your ads correctly, should be about $130 a lead short term. Longer term, you can get that to be lower, but within a 6-month time frame, you should easily be able to do that. And we're talking about a 20% closing rate is what we've seen on Google, which equals out to a $650 cost per signed client. And that is on a client who is selling their services for about $3K, which is a 20% marketing cost roughly thereof. Some people in the tax settlement services space charge 10K, as I've seen, 10, 20K. You can make a lot more. Just food for thought. But even if you don't charge more than 3K, you should certainly be able to make the math work with those kind of numbers. Now, in order to get that to work, you're going to need single keyword ad groups and really good designed landing pages that can beat your competition. Single keyword ad groups let you have higher click-through rate than your competition, which is part of what you need to hit this kind of lead cost. But you also need good conversion rates where you're getting 15% of people to turn into a lead, if not 20, 25. And in order to do that, you need to have a good landing page. I can't get into all the particulars on the layout of the landing page and how all that works. Just understand that the cost per phone call / form fill, which is what this lead cost here represents that I mentioned, comes from having a good landing page. And typically that means a multi-step form on the top part of the landing page, which starts off by asking people, how much do you owe? Why? Because it's the easiest way to get them to interact and engage with your page. And once they got one step forward into the process, it's a lot easier to get them to give you their phone number or their email or to respond in general. You say, find out in 60 seconds how much we can settle your tax debt for or whatnot. You have your phone number available for them to be able to call, or they can interact with this thing I just mentioned. They can also fill out the form if they have a general question or want a salesperson to contact them. That's how you basically set up the landing page. And for that matter, that is how you're going to basically set up all the landing pages for all the other traffic sources. So that's Google search. Now, Bing search, you can target basically any keyword you want. And it's actually more profitable than Google because of the lack of competition there still to this day. You're going to target info terms and buyers together, like I mentioned, because you can. So not just tax settlement firms, tax relief firms, and the like, but also what is the IRS's phone number? That kind of stuff still works. You got to have a good landing page again in order to make this work, but certainly it's doable. And because the cost per click is lower on those info terms, you don't need quite the same conversion rates. A 3-4% conversion rate can work just fine. So anyway, we were getting an actual $70 lead cost on Bing with a 25% closing rate, which is about $350 per deal. So significantly less than Google, which is why if you're just starting out, you should definitely just check out Bing first, is what I would advise you to do. Even though the volume's going to be less on Bing, but if you're just starting out, you should definitely start there if you need to get things working quickly so you don't run out of money before getting yourself to the next stage. YouTube and demand gen campaigns. So demand gen ads are ads that run on YouTube and Gmail exclusively. I kind of group those together. They're ads that run on Google properties. Because they're ads that run on Google properties, they have very few bot clicks through them, and therefore the traffic's pretty good quality, and then you can make money on it pretty easily. Versus Google Display Network, which most of that stuff is bot traffic. You at least are going to start here before you try to make a display campaign work outside the range or realm of what I'm going to mention here in a minute. But with that said, what you should do to make this work is you target custom intent keywords. So you create a custom intent audience. So you're going to basically tell Google that anybody who's searched for any of the keywords that you're targeting on Google and Bing, I want to be able to hit them with my ad. And that's going to be your primary mechanism. In addition to any videos on YouTube that's about how to settle tax debt, tax relief firms, tax relief firm reviews. Generally, the rule of thumb is you're gonna, and like with this and like with any other niche where we're running YouTube ads, if somebody's watching a video about how to fix their taxes, their tax debt, that's gonna convert significantly better than somebody who searched for how to fix my tax debt on Google in the recent past, which is what you're going to get through custom intent audiences. So, which is why if you have only so much money to get started and it's got to work sooner, you want to target people watching videos about the topic of tax debt before targeting the people who have searched for information about tax debt relief in the recent past on Google through custom intent audiences. So as a whole, we were able to generate leads for $47 on and through a combination of the YouTube and demand gen with about an 8% closing rate, which is about $588 a deal there. So that gives you an idea of how profitable this is. Now, so in other words, it's just as profitable as running Google and Bing ads. You're gonna have to talk to more leads, so you have more overhead sales cost, but the cost per deal is no different than Google. It's ultimately, at the end of the day, actually even a little bit better. That said, it's not like, it's still hard to make these kind of lead costs on Google and Bing because you gotta really know how to make a good landing page. But not only do you have to have a good landing page to make YouTube and demand gen work, you also have to have a good video ad to go along with it, which is even harder for most average people to do. With that said, the video ads, I would recommend looking at some of the other people that have ads out there running if you can find them, which if you can't, let me know and I'll point you to some that are successful at our firm. Just reach out to me after this video. But you're basically always going to start the video out as, do you owe XYZ amount to the IRS? If so, we can help you pay little to none and get that fixed for you right away so that garnishments stop, wage garnishments stop, bank levies stop, and the like. And then you go into how is that possible? And then blah, 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 blah. Go to this link if you want to partake. So that's going to be your general framework on that ad that's going to get you these kind of lead costs here. So that's YouTube and demand gen. Then you can do Facebook ads. Facebook ads, you can't do the same level of targeting as you can with YouTube, which is why I would recommend doing it second after YouTube. But on Facebook, you run an ad that says, eliminate your tax debt. And it's the same kind of thing as with the YouTube ad. Eliminate your tax debt. If you owe money to the IRS, you can pay either zero or very close to zero. If you're interested in talking to someone on how that's done, fill out this form. And you're going to run a Facebook lead ad for that. And on top of that, you want to use CRM integration with your Facebook lead ad so that when you get a qualified lead, you pass that back to Facebook and then the campaign can steer for more of that type of lead. That'll help you out tremendously. Facebook lead ads, $24 a lead is what we were getting about a 3% close. It's $720 per deal. So ironically, this is more than what you're going to get in other places in terms of cost per contract, but it's not that much different than search ads again. If you know how to run an effective ad, which I would recommend on Facebook, at least for this space, I would recommend a image ad, not a video ad. Main reason for that being is because you can convey through text what you need to convey more quickly, and it's familiar enough for people to say, like, do you owe any money to the IRS? People can get that right away just through a simple text pitch versus a video pitch. If you have a product, you usually need a video to sell it well, and that'll do better. So anyway, with that said, that's generally what you're going to want and can do there. Now, the other thing is Google Display Network, which before I get into that here, I also just want to say that really apt to do this for yourself. You'd do yourself a big, big favor to watch some of the other content on my channel if you haven't already that tells you how to set up the best search campaign, the best YouTube ad script, and so forth. I talk about all this on my channel here in detail, maybe not in the tax relief space specifically, but the fundamental settings and all that, what you need to know is all on this channel. And I can give you that, but you have to subscribe, you have to watch these videos. So if you haven't subscribed, you should. I promise you the information you get on this channel about how to set these campaigns up is going to be better than what other people are going to share with you here on YouTube about, because they don't actually run any ads themselves. They pretend like they do, and they're trying to make money on courses and whatnot, and it's a joke. So if you're going to pay attention to anything, you want to at least watch the videos on this channel and subscribe first. So subscribe if you haven't already. Furthermore, you can check out my blog. My blog has a lot of that as well. My blog has step-by-step instructions on how to execute strategies that are basically we're using to guarantee results for our clients at our firm. And you can find that blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog. The blog has screenshots and everything else you need to see how these strategies work, how they work, what numbers they get, and everything else. So you like the channel here as well. By the way, if you have any questions about anything I'm covering here, you can always leave me a comment in the comment section. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. Getting back to what I was saying here, on Google Display Network, the main thing people do where they mess up is they'll target people with the custom intent audience that they set up that made their YouTube ads work. So people that are typing in, how to pay off your back taxes and stuff like that, they'll have their display ad showing up for those people. The problem is you're typically going to get your banner ad that you set up on your Google Display Network campaign to show up on websites that have a lot of bot clicks on them. And even big websites play these games where they have software bots click on their own ads so they can rape Google for more ad money through their Google AdSense program. Not all websites do this, but a lot do. And so if you're going to get it to work, you have to be extra conscious about where your ad shows up. It's not just about picking certain websites, but you get on web pages that real users are going to be on those pages. So what we did, what you're going to want to do, is go to Google and type in all the main keywords. How to hire a tax relief firm, how to pay your back taxes, all the stuff that ranks on the first page of Google. You're going to write down their URLs and you're going to target that list of URLs with your display campaign. Yes, you can do this. You're going to have a banner ad on highly, highly targeted pages about the exact topic that you need to have your banner ad show up on. It's just as good as someone watching a video about how to solve their tax debt. If they're on a blog that talks about that, it's going to convert just as well, if not better. Your banner ad still has to be good. You still have to have a good pitch on there. For the tax relief space, you don't have to get that fancy. Money to the IRS, pay as little as $0 to get tax relief. And that's your idea of what you want on the ad. And then you drive them to your landing page that you use for these other campaigns is fine. That's what you do. So the ROI on that is very good. The ROI on it is actually amazing. We were getting $41 a deal on that type of traffic there, which is way less than anything else. Problem is, though, it's super low volume. It's hard to get shown. You have to bid pretty high per click in order to get a decent amount of impressions. It might be 2% of your volume overall, but it's worth doing because the ROI is great. On YouTube and demand gen campaigns, as well as Facebook, they can provide you the most volume because there's more opportunity to go after people doing research before they buy than people looking to buy or going onto Google searching itself about information. And the problem though with those two, YouTube and Facebook, is it takes longer to work. The system needs to, you got to run your ads, you got to feed in the conversion data. The conversion data is going to steer the campaign. No matter how good they're targeted, they're still going to take time to work. Even with the YouTube campaign where you can target videos about tax relief, it's still going to need time for the machine learning to work and narrow down and keep narrowing until you get to those lead costs. I wouldn't even assume that my campaign's going to hit a lead cost that I would want, that I'm going to find acceptable, until I've ran this campaign at least 3 to 6 months on both, if not longer. But it's what I always do is I get Google Search and Bing to work. It will take 3 months to get those off the ground. Once they work, I'm going to take 10-20% of what I'm making to get YouTube and Facebook to work. And even if it takes 6 months to work, it's fine because I already have a base of my business built just on search ads. And then once that's working, I can bring in display. So you see how one thing gets parlayed to the next, and the money that you make on one, you can go into another. And pretty soon you want to just eventually do them all. You don't have to do them all. And in fact, it'd be a mistake to do them all at once because you're going to half-ass it all. For normal people, you pick one, you make it work, you get the second one to work, you make it work, and then you keep going. If you want to do yourself a huge freaking favor, take my advice here and set up offline conversion tracking with all of these campaigns. And you can do it on all of these campaign types. That is, when somebody comes in and you verify the lead as decent quality and it's somebody that's sellable, you actually feed that conversion data back into your Facebook/Google account/Bing account through using the Google Click ID, Bing Click ID, Facebook Click ID, or CRM integration with your Facebook lead ad. In the case that I mentioned here, that you use Facebook lead ads because that's going to convert the best. So that the system's going to be able to optimize for good quality leads, not just leads. Because you're going to hit a roadblock trying to go for a low lead cost. If you want to really do well, if you want to get the other 2/3 of your money, you need to optimize for qualified leads. Because that'll allow you to pay more for a lead, twice as much, but it's fine because you're going to get leads that are going to convert at triple the rate. So instead of having to have 10% of your leads close, you can have 20 to 30% of them close. Therefore, you can pay twice as much. Therefore, you're going to outbid a lot of other people for the eyeballs and therefore get a lot more leads as a result of this. And you can scale the campaigns a lot more. Okay. Our typical thing when we're going to optimize for leads versus qualified leads /sales, in this case, I would upload a conversion to Google/Bing/Facebook when somebody's marked as qualified. And if they buy, I'm going to take the revenue amount and pass it with the same conversion event back to these ad platforms. Usually in that situation, comparing to what we can do with just lead data, that is, did they call, did they fill out the form, versus people that were qualified and bought data. And then eventually you just want to optimize purely on did they buy and how much did they spend. Because it's going to get you the best results. It's going to get you not just more qualified leads, but leads that normally turn into the biggest deals. Optimizing on deal size versus just whether a lead came in or not, you're going to make 3 times as much money from your accounts as you're going to have only optimizing for leads. And therefore, because mathematically calculate, you can pay, I can only pay this much per lead and be profitable, you're going to be stuck at a much lower level than if you can pay much more per lead, or should I say you're going to be optimizing for jobs mostly that are huge or clients that are huge. Therefore, you can pay more for a lead. Therefore, you can get a lot more of them. Ultimately, I've got templates set up for this. If you wanted to buy the templated campaigns from us, we sell them. If you want help restructuring your campaigns or advice on how to fix them to get more out of what you have now, I also provide that service. That's our main service that we offer here at our firm, where we'll give you a plan on what to do and help you do it, build you the campaigns, the landing pages, whatever. And we don't take our fee until we get you a certain minimum lift in your profitability. As I mentioned earlier in this video, what we normally do for clients here. And so if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com and I can have a conversation with you about it. We don't work with like every single client, but if you got something we know we can do well with, we'd be more than happy to work with you in that case. So, and if you just need a 30-minute coaching session, I've started doing those as well. In the coaching, I actually review not just your campaigns, but your landing pages, your pricing strategy, your sales strategy, your website as a whole, all of it, because a lot of you guys that are trying to you're stuck with where you're at, a lot of times you're focusing too narrow, and what you really needed was, let's say, your website to be fixed before your campaign could work, or your pricing was just off a little bit. And if you fix that, then your campaigns would start scaling again. I can, in 30 minutes, after a series of questions, almost for sure give you the answer to where you're bottlenecked and get you onto the road of where you need to go with your stuff again. So anyway, if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. With that said, that gives you a really good idea of how to generate leads for a tax settlement business, what works, how profitable it is, and so forth. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, as mentioned, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said generating leads was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it,